even back in the day when Goa was very frequented by like the British and stuff like that, you had a lot more of like the Waldorfs and the Caesars,
Right.
and that whole generation of chefs that were the Conti chefs of Goa is completely dying out right now because of the influx and the changes in palates of people coming into Goa, right?
What do you think you did right to ensure that a small bakery cafe with a very lean menu succeeded in order to reach where it is right now?
What I think we did was focus on making sure that people leave happy.
With a business mindset versus someone coming from passion or a chef's perspective, what would you say the differences are?
Probably business oriented. I may not be the best, but at least passion driven. I know that is something I can deliver. It is obviously going to be a lot different. The mindsets are very different.
Experience is a large part of,
Yes, of course.
the restaurant, right? The atmosphere, the interior design, the way
Yes.
your server serves you, the way they speak. A lot of other variables besides just
the food. And it's always a 50-50, right?
Okay.
50% the food does its part, 50% the service or the people who serve you and talk to you do their part.
Hi Ralph, welcome to the tour's first podcast, and I'm glad to see you so willing to do this. We're going to keep this very natural, very free flowing. The purpose of what we want to do here is to give our audience perspective.
Okay.
Not a how-to to start Goa's next best cafe or any next best cafe or what's the perfect recipe. Not just expertise, but perspective. Looking into how you, as a person, your nature, how that perspective could align with their values and nature so that they can take better judgment calls in their journey, in whatever they may be doing.
Understood.
So let's perhaps get into your journey, and I would like to know right from the beginning, right from when you were a kid, some story that might have clicked that led you to be exactly who you are right now, to when you were older, your education, and the whole journey basically.
No, true. So I think, it's glad that, touching upon these, topics like this, I think not many people are, not a know-how how to open a cafe, but what goes behind it, and
Right.
a lot of labor of love, and, we'll get into that,
Yes.
I'm guessing, in some time. So I think career-wise or story-wise, regular kid, grew up in Goa. Goa back then was a completely different ball game. But food was never something that was missed, my granddad was a great chef or a great cook at home. I still remember, the flavors, the smells, and, everything that, sometimes I try to recreate. I still have it in my mind, in memory also. And I think that was one of my first instances. And
How
then-
old were you at this time?
Can't remember actually. Maybe even 9 or 10.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
But those memories are still intact.
Yes, I think the smell and flavor is something which is more it like ignites something in me.
Okay.
Then I have a very bad memory. I don't know, very short term in general, I think.
That's okay.
So
I think
that's something which I think the flavor and the taste, when I taste it, I'm like, oh yeah, this reminds me of something I grew up with, And my dad has been in hotels for 25-30 years.
Okay.
And I think that is where probably this all came from, I was always around the hotels. He was always not home on the days where we had Christmas and stuff like that, naturally.
Okay.
Because of, your gala dinners back in the day.
So he was a chef as well.
No, owned hotels.
Okay.
So in the vicinity of hotels,
Got it.
like, seeing how things were kept neat, clean, everything basically. You know how as a kid you just go running around in your dad's office sort of situation. So the same thing happened here, but we were running around in the hotel. And then as I
So
grew
you were
up,
exposed to all of that right from a very
yes,
early age.
Yes, pretty much. And I was always a hyper kid. So sitting would be something I used to do least to be honest. So I used to always be like, what's going on, like, so I think Christmas, New Year's, and any functions or anything at the hotel, I used to always be around there.
Okay.
Go in the kitchen, this, that, just walk around, and that's where I think it probably, it was always ingrained in me that, when I grew up, I would want to do something in this line, sort of situation. And then obviously I was a fat kid. I still am. Now I've become fat again. That's beside the point. But yeah, but I think food has been a big part of everyone's life. But for me, it was something which I wanted to learn more and do more of. And that's how it started, to be honest. Went into a hospitality school, which was in Pune, in Lavasa.
Okay.
Called Hotelia the Lausanne, which was a Swiss college which opened one of the branches back in the day in Lavasa, which
Okay.
is a city outside Pune.
Yeah.
So we were the first batch of
Oh,
that
the
college.
first batch.
First batch, yeah.
When was this? Around what year?
This was, I think, 2013, maybe 2014.
Okay.
When Lavasa was just starting off,
Yeah.
And it was just that town hall and nothing else. And one
Okay.
hotel, and it was just barren land, and we were just put there to, culinary school. Just hospitality school. So I think that also was a learning in itself. But yeah, started off with.
But why that college?
So I think back then, obviously, your family, your parents want the best for you, and that was one of the colleges came up back then, and it was not the regular IHMs of India. So the faculty, obviously the faculty, the what do you say, facilities, everything was a lot stronger back then, and the curriculum also was very different. It was very Swiss
oriented. Okay.
Or influenced by the colleges of Switzerland back then. And hospitality colleges from Switzerland back then were like, gods. So yeah, I think got into Lavasa, did my 4 years in hospitality. During that time, I did my trainings in kitchens for a year.
Okay.
When Grand Hyatt was just opening, actually. So Grand Hyatt and Park Hyatt in Goa.
Okay.
And then from then moved to London and did my culinary education from Le Cordon Bleu in London.
Okay.
And then that's where it all started. So from then it was just working in kitchens all over Europe.
So in London, you spent a year pursuing a further education in culinary itself, and then you went on to work.
Just worked, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard key signals about your memory.
Yes.
Right from a kid, and then being exposed, which would you say that nurtured that memory in a sense?
Yes, probably yes. Exposure as in being
part of the hotel, seeing all
yes.
of that and connecting it to what had gone.
Probably it did play a big impact. And then obviously after you work and you learn and then you start getting somewhere, you're like, okay, yeah, now it's starting to make sense.
Okay. But did you have a clear vision of what you wanted right then and then when you saw yourself running through those halls of the hotels?
I mean, actually, probably not. That back then, who knew what was going to happen? Who knew where? I mean, Goa was such a small place.
Right.
There was no restaurants per se. So it was just I knew I wanted to be in hotels or something to do with restaurants or hotels or hospitality, so to speak. But what exactly was something which was defined when I joined Lavasa. So from there, then it started, giving, once you start getting into what you actually have to work with in your training in colleges. So you have to actually work in hotels, right, for about 6 months,
right,
minimum. And after doing that, that's when you really realize, okay, where do you see yourself actually going to?
So what was that realization?
That kitchens is something I wanted to be in.
Okay.
Like food is something that obviously makes everyone happy, and I think some form of working with food would make me happy also.
And now you're very into the European cuisine,
yes.
Right? And where did that got triggered in London?
So yeah, I think after finishing my my culinary education in London, I knew I wanted to just be in like European kitchens and work and learn as much as I could. Obviously, once you get into the rhythm of actually cooking and actually learning techniques, it's beautiful to see what basic like how a basic sauce is made and stuff like that. And I was never exposed to sort of Indian or Goan food per se in terms
Okay.
of cooking.
Okay.
Okay, I was always in kitchens in Europe, and that's where I mostly learnt and worked in. So I was also very clear that okay, this is something which I wanted to work in. I wanted to do mostly only European kitchens and work with the European kitchens and also the cuisine.
What is the first dish you prepared that you were really proud of?
So I think culinary school, you just prepare a lot of stuff which sometimes doesn't make sense also. But
Why so?
because it's just something you need to do, you know, one of those things where you just need to go through to get to the next level, sort of.
Okay.
Like techniques and some things which actually cause a lot of wastage in food and actually add to, you know, a dish sometimes. But I think it'll be probably now, you know, the working with my own space, like the Pastel and Nata, which we do at Padaria, is something which it took a lot of time to reach where I am. You know, a lot of time, a lot of patience. Had to really, you know, go through a lot of technique to get there. So I think that is something which,
The Pastel de Nata.
yeah, which I'm probably happy, proud
Okay.
of. Yeah.
Would you say that that time you spent in nurturing this recipe, right? Essentially, you're proud of the recipe, not the dish.
Both actually.
Okay.
Both, because it took a lot of time to do both for me.
Okay.
Not the dish, yes. I mean, dish is something we just recreated also.
Right.
But obviously, to get there was something which I'm very
Right.
proud of.
And how long did that take?
About 6 months, yeah.
Okay.
Not 6 months, but yeah, about 3 to 4 months at least of like constantly doing this, that, and this and that, and then yeah.
But does it ever get old? Do people ever want something different to a classic Pastel de Nata?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think there are a lot of people that are doing. There's some crazy things with it also.
Okay.
Like now we just did that event with Chef. I did an event with Chef Manuel Oliveira from La Loca Maria in Mumbai.
Right.
And we did a Pastel de Nata pizza.
Oh.
So that was a nice fun take because he does a great 48-hour ferment, if I'm not mistaken. And the pastel mix is something, I mean, we do, you know. So we said, why don't we do it together? And it came out pretty banging, actually, surprisingly.
Could you describe to me what's a Pastel de Nata and how it could taste for those who have not tasted it?
Yeah, so the Pastel de Nata is basically a Portuguese custard tart. It's a flaky puff pastry with a nice gooey custardy filling. That's nice, I mean, best eaten nice and warm, so it's nice and flaky, it's gooey in the center, it's nice and smooth, silky, and it's just like wholesome on its own. Yeah.
And a Pastel de Nata pizza.
That was something which we just said we'll just try, and actually worked out pretty well. I mean everything you can imagine for a sweet sort of pizza that's not a calzone with chocolate, which a lot of people are doing. So this was just
But what was the response to that?
It was great. It was great.
Okay.
It was fun. It was fun doing. And then when Chef Manuel came to Goa also, we did it at Praça, and we did the same. We did the same one.
And the Goan crowd also loved it.
Yes, I think that's something to do with, you know, that bready, doughy, and the sweet custardy charred filling of, you know, a pastel that just works very well with that cinnamon and icing sugar.
Why Pastel de Nata? Why not something else?
I don't know actually. So during my time in London, I used to go to Portugal quite often.
Okay.
And like, you know, probably half the Goans have some family there. So we used to go quite often. I used to go, me and my now wife used to go quite often to Lisbon.
When you were in London?
When we were in London.
Okay.
And after eating the first pastel nata back in the day, I was like, this is something incredible. I have to recreate this in some form. And then every time I went, I kept eating at all the places that you could get it. I'm like, then it became my mission to like get this fucking, like, get that pastel nata out. And I said that when I did open the bakery, it would revolve around the pastel nata, because that is something which for me is it's like one of the best desserts I've ever eaten in my life. And I think if that is done well, people would appreciate it. In a place that's not a Lisbon or a Macau that you usually get it at. So that is something which I wanted to bring back first, and then everything else came naturally, just sort of found its way around that.
Okay. Okay. And what was the hard part about, would you say replicating or would you say recreating?
Recreating, I would say.
Okay.
Recreating. So I think it's mostly the ingredients we get locally in Goa, and obviously what you get in Lisbon or Europe or wherever, anywhere else abroad. As you can imagine, there's a huge difference in quality, blah blah blah, consistency, obviously. So I think it
Right.
was mostly getting all the ingredients and everything else in line to get the product out with what's in your mind. So that's what's the difficult. I mean, that's the most difficult part, and obviously recreating the recipe in some form.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
and also people, getting them to understand and make sure it's done the right way consistently.
yeah. That is something that often deters restaurants or cafes away from what they're.
Yes, that's where my OCD sort of kicks in, because that is something which I'm very particular about. Consistency, making sure people leave happy, and blah blah blah, and that is something which has actually kept us going. Touchwood, it's. I think the reason why we chose to open in a place like Panjim also, and not up north or any other place which has a lot more footfall, is because we're doing it for the residents and not for the tourists per se, you could say, yes, or the people that are moving around Panjim sort of situation, because they are the people that will keep us sustained and keep coming back to us.
Okay. And now, apart from the pastel, the nata, what would you say is your speciality at Praça?
At Praça, I think it would be just simple old school European cooking, just straight up. What do you say? Things that probably that you would have had in some of your travels to Europe, but not very sort of generic, like pastas and stuff like that. Like a tuna niçoise, for example. Like that is something which is something you would never find on any restaurant menu. But I think a lot of people in some form or format, or if you've ever gone to France, you'd be like, oh, I'll try it there, and you'll never try it again in your life. I'm pretty sure. So
What is this tuna niçoise?
so it's basically a simple salad which has your lettuce leaves. The most important thing is the dressing that's made with the anchovies, parsley, garlic. So it's like a nice pasty, heavy dressing. Not
Okay.
like those, like a vinaigrette sort of vibe, but it's a
Okay.
nice heavy pastier dressing. And you have to literally rub it in the leaves of the
Oh,
salad.
okay.
So it gets nice and heavy, and it's very tasty, a little salty because of the anchovies.
And it's
capers.
consistent because it's rubbed into the leaves.
Yeah, so you have to literally rub it into the leaf. So every leaf has a bite. Every leaf has a taste of it. So that is something which I think is something which is missing, like the old classical salads. Like even back in the day when Goa was very frequented by like the British and stuff like that, you had a lot more of like the Waldorfs and the Caesars.
Right.
And that whole generation of chefs that were the Conti chefs of Goa is completely dying out right now because of the influx and the changes in palates of people coming into Goa, right? So that's why I said, let's go back to classics.
Okay.
Right? That is my strength, and that is something which I think a lot of people will appreciate if done well.
And when did you realize this?
So, to be honest, I firstly wanted to do a restaurant before opening Padaria.
Okay.
But I think at that time, the COVID was on. Obviously, things were not the best of times. And
How old is Padaria?
Padaria is about 4 years now.
Okay.
4 years.
4 years, right after COVID.
Yeah, just during COVID, actually. 21 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
21. 2020.
21 was 4
21,
years.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, 21. So, so actually, funnily, the space where Padaria is right now is opposite where the family home.
Okay.
And I always said, if that place ever comes on rent or that place ever comes up, I'm going to do something there. And it happened. So that's why we opened Padaria there.
This was
And
when you were in Goa or when you
I
were
was
in
Goa,
London?
when I was in Goa.
Okay. When did you make the shift?
I made the shift in 2019.
Okay. Why?
2019. Because I felt it was time to come back. Then I said I can help with the hotels and stuff like that. So I said, okay, come back home, start building base, and then see
Okay.
how we take it from there. Yeah.
Okay. And then you went into Padaria.
Then we went into
And that was just began with Pastel the Natas.
Pastel and Nata, Europe, like your breads that are your brioche breads and very classical European breads.
How did you select these few things to begin with? The Pastel the Nata, I think we've all completely understood that. But
So I think the initial menu of Padaria was very straight up, just straight up simple stuff, to be honest with you.
okay.
First get it right was obviously the mission, and just started off with like simple things like tea cakes, just loaf cakes, a couple of breads, and just couple of simple sandwiches. And I think I learned a lot from that as well, as in like what people like, what people don't like, and I was also learning what was available in the market to play with in terms of ingredients, what are the capabilities of the team, because we just hired the team. And I think from there we started moving naturally, organically to what Padaria is today, which is just like
Right.
simple stuff. Like we had people who came in the team who helped out and shape a lot of things that are what it is
Okay.
today. Like some people may have a strength of doing this. We said, okay, give it a shot, and some things have come on the menu from there also.
Okay. What do you think you did right to ensure that a small bakery cafe with a very lean menu succeeded in order to reach where it is right now? From both the chef's perspective as well as entrepreneur's perspective.
So I think, right is something which I feel, something which we still learn every day.
Right.
Because we are still, like, there are problems every day. In this line of work, I think, for the people who have achieved it all over the world and in India, great, because it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, energy, and
Yeah.
everything that goes into this. So I think, I don't know if we did anything right, but what I think we did was focus on making sure that people leave happy, focus on consistency, and making sure that if anyone has a problem with anything, with food, quality, anything, we close it before they leave the place.
Okay.
As in, we get feedback and we work on it, and next day if there's no physical change in what someone gave us, then that is where I lose my shit. So like, if you come in and you'll be like, hey, this is not tasting as it used to be, then we need to figure out what it is and make sure it comes back to its former glory.
Is this common practice across cafes and restaurants in Goa or even India?
I don't know, but I think a lot of people or veterans in this industry probably may be doing that, because see, people come back for that same flavor and the same taste, right? If you lose that, then there's nothing left.
Right.
So why will you come back? So what I thoroughly focus on, or what I try to make sure my team focuses on, is consistency. Looks the same every day, feels the same every day, tastes the same every day, done the same way every day. There's no reason why we should deviate from something that is already set.
And how did you replicate that if someone else were to prepare the dish?
So that is something which is happening till now.
Right.
Because
I think that's one of the biggest challenges.
That is
we
one of the
will
biggest,
face.
because attrition in hospitality, although we've retained teams. I have some of my core team members for like 4 years now who've been with me from since opening. But obviously there are newer people coming in. The mindsets of the younger generation of chefs are very different than the old school. Not old school, the people that have been around for some time. So obviously training them, getting them up to speed, a lot of that relies on us, me or my head chefs or my sous chefs, to make sure it's done. And obviously processes are set, recipes are standardized. But again, with food, it's all about feeling, right? Someone may have done something at a temperature that's wrong, which will like destroy the whole batch.
Oh.
So
how do you all deal with that?
You can't. You just have been it. It's happened multiple times, and it does happen. It does happen. Especially for me, because I think we're very particular about quality and consistency. If anything doesn't look right or feel right, it's directly out, no matter what.
Okay.
And that's what I think people expect, because they are paying for a product that needs to be 100%. If it's
Right.
not 100%, it should not be there.
Right.
Yeah.
How you talk a lot about the food aspect, right?
Yeah.
And nowadays, a lot of what people experience at a restaurant is beyond food.
Mm-hmm.
Experience is a large part of,
Yes, of course,
the
of
restaurant,
course.
right? The atmosphere, the the interior design, the way
Yes.
your server serves you, the way they speak, a lot of other variables besides just
the
food.
Okay. No, I agree. I think yes and no. Yes, because even if the food tastes bad, sometimes great service will make up for it. And it's always a 50-50, right?
Okay.
50% the food does its part, 50% the service or the people who serve you and talk to you
Mm.
do their part, right? So I think one thing which I brief all my team is that talk to any customer like they are your friends, and then you can have a conversation with them.
Okay.
If you are going to be like yes sir, no sir, then you start off at a level which is not somewhere where you can have a conversation with
Right.
the customer. So I think a lot of that has been developed, and like a lot of the people that have come to Padaria have now turned to family
Mm.
because we just know them, we just know where they like to sit. It's just the little cues that people are feeling cold, you put the AC up, or they need like a little change of tissue, like small little touch points that are very very important in hospitality, right? Music may be too loud, someone smoking near you don't like, you can so then we handle it accordingly. You make sure people are taken care of. I think one part which really plays a huge role is the toilet for me at
Okay.
any place, right?
Yeah. It can be a very big.
Yes, so that's something which
Factor.
for me, if I see my toilet dirty, the guys just they won't show their faces, because for me that has to be 100%. Doesn't matter if someone comes out every minute, it needs to be taken care of nice and neat. And I've got actually people message me sometimes saying that hey, the day was busy but the toilet was spick and span. Now that is something which I focus on, the touch point. What do people like? You like a clean toilet, you like a nice hot cup of coffee, you like the person serving you to smile, you like the person, just I think touch points like this, in the end we are all human. You treat them the way you want to be treated. That's rule 101 of hospitality, right? So if you do that, then half your job is achieved. The rest the food should do, the rest the experience should do in this space.
That's a lot of variables that I have first-hand experience that you've been able to control.
In
When I've come to Padaria, I have experienced it in exactly the way that you've mentioned.
I think
But it's a lot of variables that
you've
you've controlled. How have you been able to achieve that, not only in yourself but to extend that over to your entire team?
I think it just like there's never a break. Like I said, we have to be on it. Like my calls start from 8 in the morning and don't stop till I feel but I'll never reach a position where I can just sit back, because the fact that I know what I want, and I know what, and the team knows what I want, is the reason why we can still keep going, because they know that I expect everything clean, neat, tidy, and now they're sort of getting it into their system that hey, this is how it should be. And so always the aim was never to play at a Goa level, right? To play at a pan-India level where we give the younger kids of Goa, or we see the whole point of coming back was also there's a lot of talent leaving Goa, right? Chefs included. So why are they leaving? Is it that we are not, there's no scope? That's not true. So this was also to be like, hey, stay back. Although go out, learn, experience it, work, and come back and add some value. So that's the whole point, was to add value back into this ecosystem of Goa and the restaurants, and then you can build something out of it and give, now the younger guys don't need to leave India for any work. That there's enough and more happening here.
Right. And what do you think about the ecosystem for Goa, apart from just Padaria and Praça, for restaurants and cafes across?
I think now, I think it's been pretty civil. It's been pretty good.
Okay.
Everyone works well with each other. Like for example, for Praça as an example, right? We have like Miguel's, Petisco's just around us. Anytime I need something, I can pick up my phone. I can speak to Pranav, or I can call up Chef Madhav from Miguel's and be like, hey, I need help. I need this. It'll be there in like 10 minutes, and vice versa. And we always help each other well, even with staffing, even with anything. I would say, I think that ecosystem thrives only when everyone does well and takes care of it.
And that's happening.
That's happening.
That's quite
happening.
Nice to hear. I mean, most people were to think that competitors, right, they are getting more footfalls and we are not, then something needs to be done about that. So like it's nice to see that like people are actually helping out in such tight competition as well.
Yes.
Would you say it's competitive though?
It is. It is
Okay.
competitive. But then you don't go with the intention of bringing someone down, right? You go with the intention. So whenever we do anything, or at least me and my wife think of, like even Praça or Padaria, we do what we do best, is try to give the best food, the best service, and the best ambience for anyone to come in and have a meal. Now, if you tick the right boxes, eventually people will start coming in, right? There's no reason why you need to bring another restaurant down, or by in the process of doing that, right?
Right.
Poaching and all that is something which is not required. I think there's enough and more people out there that can take a right decision in their own, then just destroy.
Right.
Up north, a lot of that happens, right? The ecosystem is not as Panjim. Panjim is always a small city. Again, boys who grew up in Panjim, Pranav, me, Pinku from Lada and Fork, we've all grown up together. We've seen what Goa was and is, right? So why would we want to tear down a system where we are trying to build?
Right.
So I think it's nice to see that happen.
And what about up north?
Up north is a very different ball game altogether.
So up north would basically be beyond Panjim, right? Kalangut,
yes,
Vagator,
yes.
Agasai?
Agasai, not really.
Asagaon, sorry.
Asagaon. So I mean, yes and no. I've heard a lot of instances where poaching has destroyed restaurants and stuff like that, and it's not really nice. I think here, at least in Panjim, a lot of people are very civil. We respect boundaries, and we all try to, obviously, and we all try to work within our means.
So why do you think that happens over there?
Where? Up
north?
north?
Yeah.
So I think the culture of people coming into the spaces when they open a restaurant is very different. The mindsets are very different when you go up north. Right? It's a bigger money game. It's more people, more resources, and you will do what you need to survive because you have costs that are very high also, right?
Right.
And also mindsets when you come from like a Bombay or a Delhi is very different. The mindset of doing business there versus the mindset of a Goan doing business is very different. For example, right? Outside my restaurant, I'll make sure my boys sweep the road. I make sure things are neat and clean to whatever I can do. Obviously, we're not 100%, but we at least try to do that, right? We try to make everything look nice. Not like throw our shit on someone and make sure, not like that. We try to keep it nice and neat. Same thing with the bakery, right? I do sweep the roads outside. Obviously now in the monsoons we can't do much, but try to keep the community also happy, because we have to in the end work with locals, because we are in areas where they are really high residential, like Padaria, for example. Like so even the parking situation at Padaria sometimes goes completely chaotic. But I think people also understand. We try our best to make sure it's kept civil and people park nice. But in the end of the day, we have to survive in that area, knowing that we have locals that are around and we have to take care of them also. Right? If I'm going to start blasting music late at night, it's not going to make anyone happy, right? So all of that included sort of becomes part of how you take care of the ecosystem.
So it's a mindset, essentially, which is not being propagated up north, but Panjim's ecosystem is full of people.
I would say it's very different. Very different.
Would you say people that start a restaurant or a cafe in Goa or anywhere with a business mindset versus someone coming from passion or a chef's perspective, what would you say the differences are, and what's more likely to succeed?
To be honest, I can't comment on that much. The reason being, I always have the passion sort of element in me that I want to do and I feel like doing, and I will go through the pain and take probably business oriented. I may not be the best, but at least passion driven. I know that is something I can deliver, and then the business element sort of comes with it. So
you pick it
up. I would
up.
say it is obviously going to be a lot different. The mindsets are very different. So now we are also learning a lot more, right? Now after being in this for 4 years, now whenever we have someone be like, hey, why don't you open in like a Bangalore or Bombay? Obviously business wise it's a great idea, but I can't stretch myself between two locations because then quality will get completely destroyed.
Exactly, and that's what happens with most of these chains.
So then that's something which is a very clear example that I don't have the, like, even if I want to scale, which we can, there will be some points, at some point of time, there will be a kink in the system which will maybe jeopardize both locations, right? So that is also a reason why probably I'm like, I wouldn't do it until I'm really ready. So business wise, obviously great idea. The people, I mean, again, it's not that both can't work well together, right? You can have a great, you can be passionate and have a great business sense and still do really well, or one of the other also.
Okay. You mentioned expansions. You've thought of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's come up. It's come up
Okay.
a couple of times.
And I mean, speaking more on the line of chains,
Yes.
why does it always happen that, let's go deeper on that aspect, why does it always happen that when you open a chain, generally speaking, if you've been able to replicate your recipe, your consistency among so many people in your team already, it shouldn't be, why can't it be propagated to a city like Bangalore or Mumbai?
So I think, see, that also, so let's talk about Goa as a place, right? Now Goa has always that element of the owner being there, and you're like, when you enter, hey, you said, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where you're like, hey, Baba, I'll go there because he's there and you'll be taken care of and blah blah blah, sort of a situation. And it's a fact, right? Even when we make our choices when we go out for a meal, a lot of times you're like, I will go there because I want to have a good time. I know I'll be taken care of, right? Now, I can do that between two locations right now, right? Tomorrow, let's say I do. Tomorrow, let's say you open in like a Bangalore or a Bombay and everything. One is obviously the element of the owner being in control has to be taken out of the picture, because then you enter a city which is like a production driven market where you need to supply the demand.
Right.
Now, when you supply the demand from 5, let's say we're doing 20 of this bread a day to 100 bread a day, right? The whole artisanal hand of like, of the smaller details that we look into will have to be oversight at some point of time, because you're going to look at a larger volume. So consistency always tends to suffer, because when you do smaller batches, especially with all our cakes and blah blah blah, everything is very, you have to taste, you have to feel, you have to touch, right? The whole format will need to change, because you are going to do a lot more of a mass market format, at least in my opinion. Right. So naturally you will want to, so then you should forget the passion bit of it and just focus on the business expansion bit, which a lot of people have done, right? A lot of people have done. But then tomorrow someone sees something wrong with a product in Bombay, automatically your product in Goa doesn't taste as good. Or they'll be like, you can be compared to your first store versus the next 10, for example, right? That's always sort of the case.
Yeah, that's when you have to keep your brand has to be intact.
Yes.
And I've noticed that your social media pages,
Yes,
they're quite active, right?
Yes.
They're quite active, and the style that you've taken is a very people-oriented approach. It's not purely just product-based, where you just post out your products.
Yes, true.
It's like going on your Instagram page almost feels like as if you're experiencing a bit of the restaurant, and then that's exactly what you would get if you came over there.
Yes.
Why, how and why did you decide to go with that kind of a format? Because a lot of restaurants and cafes in Goa tend to take the simpler route, which is paid ads.
So that is something which probably, that is a call which when initially it was me and my wife handling the page, and then we got someone on board called Shraddha. She handles the pages of Padaria right now, and she's done a fantastic job at where we've reached. But my direct to her, my direction with her was always to keep it. I don't want to see food every day, right? I want to see space. I want to see people. I want to see more aspects. It doesn't have to be only about food, right? there's only so much food we can do in a day. There's only so much. If we had to do only food posts, then there would be no more posts to do, because we have a certain menu set that is always, like the menu is short, not with the number of years we've been open, right? So I think you have to give people an idea of what it would be. Come, sit down, what the staff is like, bring their face. They are doing a great job. Let them be also in the forefront. So when people come in, they'll be like, hey, I saw you on this. So I think we're building
that recognition.
The whole point is we are building a community where, like, people should feel involved in the products we do. A lot of people are given suggestions of products that we've also done for them, and that's become a dish on the menu, for example.
In what sense? Like, if you could give an example.
Like, for example, we've had people who've been like, can I just have a roast chicken? We do a roast chicken sandwich which has lettuce, tomato, chicken, vinaigrette.
This is at Padaria.
Padaria.
Okay.
And then they're like, I don't want the bread. So we're like, okay, we'll do a bowl. And now we have bowls on the menu because people have suggested. So I think it's a community of people being involved. Like, we try to put a lot of our customers also on videos whenever we can.
Okay.
And I think it's just fun to do things that are just different. Like, how much do you want to see of just food, right? So show the space, show the people. Even the collabs we do is also something where it shows the team a different city, the response to a different city. Sometimes you don't realize, being in the bubble of just going to work every day, what other people are saying out of work. Like, so it's good for them to see the response that we get when we go to different cities,
right.
And stuff like that, And I think also a lot of credit goes to Shraddha, obviously. She does a fantastic job at handling the page, and, the direction of where it's going also is obviously due to her.
What kind of footfalls do you all expect from your social media for both Padaria and Praça?
So that is something which we never really focused on, to be honest.
Okay.
The idea was always to. So my direction, my again, one of my directions to any of my social media guys is that whatever you put there needs to look and feel like the product you're going to eat, right? A lot of times you look at like a signboard, you'll be like, oh, that looks good, and you get it, it's like so small, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and I think you've achieved that.
So that is something which I feel like, you need to see what you are eating. You should not cheat a customer through a picture, right? So I think the footfall or the response we get comes naturally. We never went with the objective of being like, hey, we'll try to sell this on social media. Right now, obviously, a lot of people, everyone eats on their phone, right? Everyone scrolls through their phone, and everyone wants to see some fun content. And some things which I like to see is, like, obviously the crusty, a breaking of a baguette that is crusty. You see like a Berliner or like a donut being squeezed in the chocolate. Like, things like this is obviously like, I want to have that. Or a coffee, if you see a coffee being brewed at around 7 or 8 in the morning, you'll be like, oh, I need to go in for a coffee. So these are things which I like to tell her to do, like, hey, make sure this postcard is 7:30. When you see a coffee being brewed by a machine on an espresso, you unknowingly you'll be like, hey, I need to go in for a coffee.
Are a lot of people taking this approach so deeply into building a community?
As in, like, you mean?
Your community is, I feel like everything is in line with your consistency and quality. And when I say everything, I mean beyond just your food, from what you've been saying.
Okay.
Right? I think that's extended onto your social media as well, where you're not focusing on the
monetizing.
Yes, the monetization as to the footfall, to the result of conversions through the marketing, but you're focusing more on the community aspect.
Yes.
Right. Are a lot of people doing this? Because I don't think so.
Yes and no. I think a lot of people are probably doing even a better job at us than this. So I think we are just in a bubble where obviously we try to push to our full potential. Doesn't matter. We don't have a guidebook, or we don't have a sort of rule book where we play within, right? We do what we feel. And what we feel comes through responses we get with customers, or feedback we get online, or feedback we get when people talk to us across the counter, and stuff like that. And then that's how we respond with the social media, what goes out on social media. or anything, like even with like my travels, and I come back, I'm like, hey, this is something which I saw, I think it's fun, we should do it, stuff like that. So I think obviously community building is key. It's something which I always focus on and like to always do. And I think that's the only way. I mean, for me, that's the only way to sustain business, especially in a city like Goa, which is so highly dependent on repeats and regular footfall,
Right.
right? So I think what we're doing, we don't even know whether we're doing something right or wrong, but we always do it the way we feel. So I think that is something which I think a lot of people sort of forget, that hospitality is all about people in the end of the day. So as much as we can sort of take care of people, they'll take care of us back again.
Could you perhaps maybe put it in a sentence or two what the purpose of Padaria is and then what the purpose of Prasa is?
Padaria, I think, is just a place where you can come. That's a no fuss dining experience where you can just you should get whatever you want, sort of. I'm being very serious about that, because we do customizations for anyone. We are not one of the rigid places to be like, hey, no, we cannot do this because it doesn't go. If you want it, I'll do it. As long as you're happy, I'll do it. So it's a place where you should just feel comfortable to order whatever you want. Obviously menus there, but order whatever you like, and the team will take care of you at in their best ability, sort of situation. And with Prasa, sorry, the question was what?
The purpose, if you could define.
With Prasa, I think Prasa would be to basically give people a dining experience that you'll get anywhere in Europe. Okay, that's what I really want to focus on, is that we try to bring back a lot of the old school classics and old school cooking techniques. I mean, I'm not reached anywhere yet, but that is, I mean, there's always that strive to do better and to do something more. So just a simple, again, no fuss dining experience, which is comfort food. You should, like, it's not some place where you feel that you need to be rigid and be like, hey, you're uncomfortable with how you order and what you do. So it's just a place where just come, dine, have a great time.
I noticed in Prasa, come with the boards.
Yes, blackboard.
Yeah, how did that idea come up and why?
So that is something which I always. So even with Padaria, we only have a blackboard menu.
Yeah.
That is just when you enter. That's all we have. I don't know. I think I have a thing for blackboard menus. I think it's something which, when we opened up, I said, whenever we run off something, we can just strike it off. Same thing with Prasa, because the thing is,
Prasa, basically your team of maybe 1 or 2 person will come
with a
hold
blackboard
the menu right
yes.
next to your table and tell you what's good and what's there, right?
Yes. So the whole idea with that is, see, we don't have unlimited numbers of everything, right?
Right.
You will run out if it's a busy night, or if we just have limited portions of something. I don't want to have a printed menu which just says that. The whole idea was that we explain the menu, talk you through what the menu is, and then you take an informed decision with what you want to have. Sort of. And if we don't have it, we can just strike it off, right?
Yeah.
So I think, and it gives us the ability to change things nearly every day, if you want.
Right.
If you want, we've not still reached there where we are going to be doing that, but I want to get to a point where I can have a menu that probably will also a small menu which changes every day, so it keeps you interested and keeps you coming back for more. Yeah.
The purpose that you mentioned for both of these, how do you find the right talent to to build a team?
I think that is something which, again, not really cracked at all. Because I mean, yes and no, I would say. Not like, no, we've not found great talent, but we just, I mean, to be honest with you, it's only social media that is where we hire. We put out posts and we get a lot of CVs or anything from social media, and then we filter to the crowd, get them down. I always tell any of the people that join me, make sure when you come in, you are happy to work here. I don't need people just to work. I need to be happy and deliver more than just work. You need to add to what we're doing, right? You need to feel that you're part of this community and grow with us. If you're here for a short-term stint, this is not the location for you. As simple as that. And I think we've got some great people who have stuck with us, who have joined us, and yeah, I think discipline is something which is very important to me with the way people behave or people act, the way they walk in the kitchen. These things are things which have been ingrained in my time when I was when I was working as a chef in Europe, right? So that is something which I think a lot of people are starting to understand, that that those are very key important factors in just cooking. Is not everything. It's not that you can cook and then you just, no, it's not that. It's about every little element that goes into the process of doing that, and that is something which I do not let go of. So some people break fast, saying that, hey, this is something which is very rigid. Some people enjoy the process and be like, hey, this has taught me a lot.
So you need that openness, that kind of people.
Yes, I think just the willingness to. We take anyone who wants to work. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter you come from a culinary background or not.
Okay. Even with your chefs.
Even with my chefs.
Okay.
If you have the willingness to learn
Right.
and the eagerness to push, I'm happy to give someone a chance.
Mm.
Yeah.
You mentioned that some of what you do is inspired by your time at your hotel with your dad.
Yes.
How much today of, what do you think is inspired by both your grandfather and your dad that you do today?
I think probably more the OCD and the hard assness. Probably, yeah. I think that probably is something like because I think I think where the point came where the toilets need to be clean is something I saw every day there.
If you didn't have that, do you think it would be what it is today?
No, not at all.
Mm.
I think that hard assness is something which probably is something which plays a huge part in how I do things, how I run business and everything. I think just little things here and there.
Mm.
But without that, probably no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming back to quality, you mentioned that a lot of the ingredients that are like you wanted to recreate the pastel, the nata, or the dishes from Europe, right? But the ingredients that could be is that a constraint here in Goa?
I would not say constraint. I would say it is limited. But then we that is something which I knew coming back. But using what we can do, we have some great produce locally. Just using that in some form or format to make or to get where we want to go is something I've always worked with, and it's something you have to adapt to the system, the ingredients and everything. That's what we do, right? As chefs, we have to adapt and make it work. So that is something which I think comes in naturally after a certain period of time.
Okay.
Obviously, it is. That being said, I do like all my cold meats, like your charcuterie, like your hams and salamis and stuff like that, and even cheese I use to some extent is imported.
Okay.
Is imported because we know that the consistency will be there in that product. But obviously, we work a lot with what's available in the local market and work around it.
But are people willing to pay for that kind of prices?
I would say yes, to some extent. Wherein if you know you want to have that, or you want to know, like for example, now the charcuterie platter, right? We've just introduced it at Praça.
What is the charcuterie platter?
Charcuterie is basically in Italy and wherever you go. Italy, Spain, freshly cut salami and stuff like that on a plate with some olives, cheese, crackers, stuff like that. That is something which no one's doing right now, and I always wanted to do that at some format.
This is at Praça?
At Praça.
Okay.
So now the only thing I can do is mostly imported, although you are getting a lot of local suppliers who are doing not probably the salamis or not, but like hams and stuff like that. But I know the quality will be 100% if I import or use the imported produce. And people, if you know what the quality is, you will pay for it. You will pay for quality.
Right.
And I think to some extent we've achieved it, some extent probably not. It's always up.
Any experiments that you tried that actually failed purely because the price point was just not fitting?
A lot at Padaria. I think I did a lot of stuff which I said I thought might work and didn't. I don't have any particular instances, but there's been a lot of failures in what we have done. Even at the restaurant, even at Praça, I think we are still very, very young at Praça, so there's a long way we need to go. But at Padaria, I think we learnt our lessons over a period of time, and now we are getting to a position where we stay consistent with the products, some of the products we do, and experiment with or play with a little bit. Where there's some element of change and there's the same flavor that people want to come back to, basically.
Okay. Would you say it was hard to achieve this kind of, in business terms, product market fit that you have?
I would say yes, because till now, like, the market keeps changing and evolving. People's needs, people's dietary restrictions and all are changing nearly every day, So you have to be able to adapt. That being said, I don't do sugar-free and gluten-free stuff because that is something which I feel doesn't fit with what I can deliver.
Okay.
Because if we are all about fat and flavor and butter and eggs, because European, if I can't do like sugar-free sort of cake, and I won't be happy. I always try to do food that I will be happy to eat, and I'm not happy to eat sugar-free or gluten-free for that matter. But yeah, I mean, obviously we do cater to any dietary as much as we can, but if I don't enjoy eating a product, I probably wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Probably wouldn't do it.
Would you say that constrains you in any way?
It does multiple times, but slowly I think also now with the team, and I've got a lot of senior people in the team now.
Okay.
I want to give them the freedom and the wings to sort of do what they want to
experiment with themselves.
So I'm slowly also taking a little step back so they get to spread their wings.
Okay.
So
are you worried about your consistency?
Not with the products that we're already on. With maybe it goes through me only through a process where we do trials and stuff, and then we put it on.
Okay.
So that is something which also needs to happen as succession for the guys also. So that being said, so now we are working on vegan options and stuff for that, because I think that's where the market is heading also. So we have to sort of adapt with it.
Right. Any experiments of dishes that you really loved and thought was gonna make it, but it didn't?
No, not really actually.
Okay.
Not really.
That's a good thing.
I've always played with people's expectations to some extent, where we take feedback. So we've done dishes obviously which in my mind will probably work, but when I give it to someone to taste, or my wife also, she's a big critic.
Okay.
Like in a sense, she'll be on this, so then I'm like, fuck it, I won't do it. But yeah, basically, yeah, like obviously in your mind, what translates to cooking and plating is completely different. I think we've learnt with time, and still learning, obviously, because there's, like I said, again, the market is changing constantly. So we have to adapt, and we have to see what people want in the end of the day. Obviously, sometimes it's also what we need to do as a restaurant to sort of maybe hit some barriers in what we are trying to achieve. But otherwise, we play within a limit where we know that customers will come back for that sort of thing. It should not be too experimental, which wastes a lot of money, and people don't appreciate it. So yeah.
And how do you work out for instance, the imported meats?
Yeah.
Right. The cost of goods sold. Right. How do you work out that kind of financial aspect when you're pricing your products, your dishes?
So we always have a certain formula that we work with.
Okay.
But in the end of the day, what I always think is, like, if I be willing to pay that price, and is it worth it in terms of size, shape? Is it filling enough? If not, then I probably will even take it off the menu.
Okay.
So a lot of things I do. I mean, the way I plan my menu purely is, if I get something at X price, will a customer be willing to pay for it? So there was a point, like, for a good example is when chocolate prices went absolutely mad.
Okay.
So we used to buy. This was, I think, 2 years back, I would say.
Okay.
2.5 years back, maybe. 2 years.
And
back.
What kind of chocolates are you talking about?
So we're talking about the chocolate we use for cooking, like whichever chocolate.
Okay.
So we used to buy it for like 495 rupees a kg to 500 rupees a kg, and there was a point where.
And what is the normal price?
That was the price.
Okay, that's the normal price.
And I mean, at that point of time, that was the price for that sort of quality. So
okay.
$500-600.
For a kg?
For a kg. And
Okay.
then it just went up to 1,300 rupees a kg.
Oh.
So then I literally took it off the menu. And there was a point even where salmon was, I mean, that also doubled in price. I just took it off the menu because I said, this is madness. I said, I wouldn't be happy to pay for this product at this price. It's no point passing on the cost to someone who will be like, hey, you know. And then after some time we waited. The markets, obviously it didn't come down to the point where it's reasonable, but it came down to a point where you had to live with that. So then you find a way to work around it. So
how
again,
do you prepare for these kind of challenges though?
You can't.
What if this would happen, like, I mean, hope it doesn't, but like, what if this were to happen with one of your top selling products? Or
We take it off.
Okay.
We take it off.
Okay.
Like chocolate is a huge part of what we do, and we had to take it off.
Right.
So that is a cost we have to deal with. I wouldn't want to give out a product which I'm not happy with the price. Like, it's just ridiculous. So
that is also a very important aspect of your
yes,
consistency.
Very much.
Okay.
And again, like since you brought that up, if a product is, if for example, suddenly, like just it happened last week,
Okay.
where one of my suppliers didn't have chocolate or who we buy from, and then I said we have to stop it because I can't change the quality because I have to put the product out. I will not do that. So I say I'd rather not sell it.
But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people would just keep it going.
I don't know. Yes and no, probably. I think yes and no. But that's, I mean, consistency is key. Like I said, so you will come back for the same flavor. And if it changes, then, you know, and I think a lot of my customers text me directly if there's any sort of, you know, change, or if they feel there's anything. And then, you know, I directly make sure it's rectified, sort of thing. You know, that is something that, I mean, I think the feedback from all our customers over these years has shaped who we are and what we do and how we do things. Okay, with feedback, we've worked on a lot of things to improve and better all our processes, or, you know, take care of people better and stuff like that. I think it's only feedback from people that's gotten where we are.
Okay.
Listening to that feedback is what I mean.
Would you be open to trying out new cuisines?
As in?
Apart from just European cuisine.
You mean introducing it in the
maybe not in
restaurants?
Praça, or okay, this goes into a bigger question. Would you have plans to expand in Goa, if not outside Goa?
I mean, there's always ambition to do it, but I think when it translates into actually sort of when you think about it practically, about all the processes and all that needs to go, it is tedious, and I don't think I'm ready for that yet.
Okay, but it is something that would...
I mean, yes, overall, I mean, I would want to do it at some point in the next few years, but not particularly soon. I'm not rushing into anything.
Okay.
If we find something right that fits with what we want to do, yes, for sure.
So, Ralph, what has been your vision right from Lavasa, right, where you said that you got a sense of direction, where you wanted to be in the kitchen, to now? Has it been the same, and has it just kept getting clearer?
I think after Lavasa, I think London is what gave me a lot of clarity.
Okay.
And every kitchen I worked in gave me more clarity in what I want to do next, and has shaped sort of the chef I am today, because I worked with so many different people, and everyone's mindsets are very different, and obviously some are great, some are not so great, but you know, all of that obviously has shaped who I am today. And I think it's just been to give a great product as much as I can and make people happy, you know, experiment with some food, let them try new flavors, because we've done so much. I've done so much in all the kitchens I've done abroad. I've not done half the stuff that I have done there, right? And that is something which I will introduce slowly. I think it's more to just, I think, give people a taste of Europe without actually leaving Goa, right? How can we do that, right? If you are really craving that dish you had somewhere in, or pie you had in London, I can probably do it at some form or format here. So you don't need to leave, you know, you can get whatever flavors you want here, basically. And I think it's not only about the food, it's also the dining experience. Like with Padaria, just no fuss, very loud, very rough. And it's always been that way, and that's something which I always wanted to keep. With Praça, it's a little more I would not say refined, a little more obviously sit down, a little more calmer. I wanted an extension of what we do at Padaria to translate into an evening scene.
Okay.
So where you can come, sit down, have a nice comfort meal. Again, no spice. I mean, not spice, but no, you know what I mean. No of the
Yeah.
masala-y bit.
Got it. Not
A
the
lot
Indian
of clean
aspect.
flavors.
Hmm.
A lot of clean flavors. A nice glass of wine.
Hmm.
You know, that's it. A great cocktail or whatever. Oh yeah.
So what's... I mean, you did say that you're going to Bombay now
Yes.
soon.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will be out by then, but what would be happening in Bombay on 23rd, right?
So the 23rd and the 23rd and 24th. Piku, Chef Piku, Ralph Prazeres is a very good friend. We grew up together, and we always said when we were back in the days, I was working in my kitchens in Europe and he was working in his kitchens here. We always said that we would cook together someday. And we said, one day it'll happen, sort of situation. You know how it is. So we did a couple of already events together, and it's been not bad.
Okay.
Been doing pretty well. And I think the brand they have also is great. So
what are they into?
So he works for, or he's a partner in Passport Hospitality PCO.
Okay.
Which has Jamun, Saz, Pings.
Okay.
Great kitchens. He's a great chef also. And now what we're doing in Bombay is basically an extension of what we've done a couple of last year and the year before that. So we do a yearly pop-up in Saz in BKC, and it's just a little taste of Goa or a little taste of Padaria in Mumbai. And I like doing that because I think all our customers who probably come here maybe once a year, it gives them a chance to come there again and get some goodies and get
the
some
tourists
stuff.
From like that area.
Yeah, like people from
Okay.
whoever's staying in Bombay at that point of time. And for us also, it gives us a chance to step out of the city, and for the team to work in a different kitchen. It puts a lot of perspective in what they want to do also going forward.
Right.
And I think it's good for the brand. It gives us PR. It gives us, so we need to be more in the map of India than just Goa. Not that
Right.
Goa's, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think I like to step out and do a lot of these activations. And I get bored also, so I'm like, I need to step out. Yeah.
Okay. But you're doing it a lot more often than
So
now.
this year I did like one every month nearly.
Oh, okay.
One every month, yeah, between both locations, meaning Praça and Padaria.
Okay.
And I don't know why this year I said I just want to just keep doing this. So I started off from April,
Okay.
and we've been doing one, and 1 month we did two. So
So if you could like quickly just like hop through where you hop through.
I did. Where we start off this year? Can't remember where we. I think we started off in I think Hyderabad with Jamun.
Okay.
Piku. Then we did. Forgetting already. We did Mumbai with.
Okay, let's do one thing. Hyderabad highlight, Mumbai highlight, like the highlight of what happened over there.
So first time in Hyderabad. So we did Hyderabad first time there. So I said yes, definitely I want to tap this market. I want to see what the response is, what we can do with our brand there. And it was fantastic. We expected like 50. We did 150 people. So we were like completely rammed. And it was great. Like I think it was great response. Then we did after Hyderabad we did I think Calcutta.
Okay.
First time again in Cal. So a lot of new cities this year. We did little bit sober with Praça.
Okay.
Little bit sober is a cocktail bar
In Calcutta itself.
in Cal.
Okay.
A fantastic place, and we did a Praça takeover there of the kitchen.
Okay.
Again, great response. Never done a city like Cal. Never expected what people would respond to the food. So
How
I like
was
to
it?
see. It was great. Good. It was nice, busy. Kept everyone on their toes. So I think I wanted to do a lot of new cities this year, and plus some old favorites like Conservatory, which was just last month. We did Chef Manuel Oliver from La Loca Maria and La Pantera.
Okay. Where is this?
In Mumbai.
Mumbai. Okay.
That was a different format. We did like a Praça, Padaria, sort of both sort of vibe. That was also banging. A really good response, and we got Chef Down also here.
Okay.
To Praça. So that also was like really. So
So a lot of events this year.
A lot of events.
And
Lot of
after
events.
Bombay, anything else planned?
Yes, we have another one planned in Mumbai in November.
Okay.
Two in Goa actually.
Okay.
Two planned. We did Goa also this year. Sorry, we did South Goa at Amarant
Okay.
in March, I think it was, or something like that. I can't remember dates. I'm very bad with dates. But yeah, this year has been good. Active. Keeps the team also planning new menus. I mean, it's exciting to do these, right? Just rather than the whole, just like the whole same work week, nothing to look forward to. So I think this keeps us all sort of, looking for more.
Yeah.
Like what next year? Now next year, everyone will be like, we should do one every 5. You know what I mean? So it's like something which keeps us going.
Yeah, now you've set the standard for like all these consecutive ones.
Yeah.
So you're saying next year it might be.
Next year I think probably not. Next year we'll just
Okay.
focus on just keeping the base strong. Yeah. But
Okay.
yeah.
If you were to go back in time, would you do anything differently? And what would you tell
I
yourself?
don't know actually. Now that that question is asked, I don't know. I think probably would be like pay attention to some of the things which I probably didn't pay attention to in some kitchens. Write that recipe down, which is something which you wanted to do, and I would have probably wanted to work in more kitchens.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is something which I would still want to do. Because you learn something every day, and when you reach a certain point, you're like, okay, now what's next. Like there's a lot of people depending on you. The teams are depending on you to create. To everyone wants to be at the top. We are always trying to focus to smash, and to be at some standing throughout India is something which we always want to do, and it's good for the team also.
Right.
So I would say probably just work in some more restaurants, to be honest.
Okay.
Work in some more restaurants
Okay.
and do it differently. I don't know actually. I really don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm still thinking, but I can't give you an answer.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So Ralph, well, thank you so much for being our guest today, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure there's a lot of takeaways that a lot of people can learn. People looking to come into building their own restaurant, their own cafe, their own community. I'm sure they would learn a lot from this conversation that you've provided to everyone.
I hope so. And thank you so much for having me. I think it's the first time I'm doing one of these. And obviously, I mean, the questions you asked also a lot more reflecting. You think about it a lot more now. But thank you. I hope this has been good, and there's a lot of takeaways from this.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.